Welcome to North Country Commerce, a business and community service of the Plattsburgh North Country Chamber of Commerce. I'm Gary Douglas, and each week we try to bring different stories examining issues of concern to business, services that are being offered to business here in the North Country, or just various topics that might be of interest to folks out there in the community about what the business community is doing on behalf of our region. This week's topic is really appropriate for the season. Summer is certainly the big tourism season here in the Plattsburgh North Country area, and so we're going to update folks, and particularly business people out there, about what the Plattsburgh North Country Chamber of Commerce and our division, the Champlain Shores Visitors and Convention Bureau, are doing to promote tourism. There are a number of very new and different things being done that if folks took a look at what the Chamber was doing a couple of years ago to promote tourism and looked at what we're doing today, they would find a very different picture and a whole lot of new and we think fairly exciting things going on. One of the things that we did last year was a whole new marketing image, Champlain Shores in the Adirondacks. Realizing that to effectively market the area, we really had to key in on a major attraction that would compete when we're at a travel show or our publications are out there in the marketplace and you're next to Las Vegas and Myrtle Beach. You need to feature something that's going to be that hook and that draw, and certainly Lake Champlain is that for us. And so we're really trying to build our tourism promotion around Lake Champlain, not ignoring there's a whole lot of other things to do around here too, but that being the hook that'll get the attention, get the query, and then you can tell them about the other things that are nearby, and there are certainly many of those. So it doesn't mean we're only promoting the lake. It just means the lake is really the best way to promote everything that's within any distance of the lake at all, because people know Lake Champlain. It has a name that people recognize and place, and water is one of the main things people look for. Mountains and gambling. So we've got water, we're next to the mountains, and gambling's just 1 hour away. So we can tie all those together.
Don't forget
Joining me are three of our leaders really in this effort, and we're going to talk about some of the specific things that we're doing. Carolyn Harding is our new Director of Tourism Promotion, or Director of the Visitors and Convention Bureau, on board for just a little over a year now. Welcome, Carolyn.
Well, it's almost 2, Gary.
Almost 2.
So I'm an old-timer.
We're going by quickly.
Yes.
Jody Malloy is with Ramada Inn here in Plattsburgh, and Rick Harp is with Days Inn in Plattsburgh, two of our active members of our Visitors and Convention Bureau Committee, and we welcome both of them. They've both been very helpful in putting together the strategies that we're working on and putting the volunteer effort, because Carolyn is only one person, in spite of appearances to the contrary, in terms of what she produces. She is only one person doing it all, but she's backed up by a lot of volunteers like these folks that are also out there helping. Carolyn, tell us a little bit about the new marketing image, how it's working, how people are responding to it, including the one of the first things we produced to put that image out there, which was the new travel guide.
Well, we're finding that one of the key, as you said, one of the key things we have to point to is our location, which is Lake Champlain. So when we go to travel and trade shows, we have a banner that goes over our booth that says Lake Champlain, so that we're very recognizable when people are walking around a trade show. This is our full-color travel guide, which we call the stuffed guide, in that it has accommodations and campgrounds. We've already gone into our second printing of this piece because it's so popular. We also have what we call a rack version, which sits in racks in places like Information USA and in welcome centers. And these are the 8-page small versions. We've already gone through, wait a second, the first printing was 40,000, second printing is 35,000, and now I'm starting to think we're going to have to look at another reprint. So that's
and that's just
wonderful.
In the first year.
Yes, sir. That's great news.
And this was meant to last us for 2 to 3 years.
This we have a few more left of, okay? But the little rack version, we're sending them as far away, as the Thousand Islands, down to the Gateway in Binghamton, New York. They're here at our Beekmantown Welcome Center. We send them to very many places up and down I-87 and the Thruway. That's why they're going so quickly. So
and
that's good news.
a lot of them are inquiries direct right here.
Absolutely.
That you send out.
Absolutely. Yeah, the thing about those on both versions, by the way, we have a coupon, and this corresponds to something Gary will get into later, but this gives you all the different things that people can write to us and receive if they're interested in bicycling, if they want to know more about boating on Lake Champlain or history. We can then send them a personalized package of information. So we know, by virtue of the number of these coupons that are flying through our office now, that we are getting responses, for sure.
It should also be pointed out that this is in both French and English, and that our guests on the Canadian side who speak French were very, very pleased to receive this in both languages. As a matter of fact, their comment was parfait.
You can tell Jody's helped me with some of our trade shows, because one of the things that we try to do when we go to the trade shows is to have someone in our booth who is bilingual, because they are very, very receptive. That's why we did this in French, too.
Now, you mentioned trade and travel shows. We've really been going to a lot of those as really part of our new effort, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
What kinds of shows have we been going to?
Well, the first year, I think we attended on behalf of the region 7 shows. This year, we've already finished 7. We're not even halfway through the year. We're going to shows we've never been to before. We are giving out literally thousands of pieces of information. It's an opportunity for our members and for other businesses to become involved in the shows, because we do offer a menu of selected shows for folks if they want us to hand out their brochures. For instance, one show, the boat show, was 65,000 attendees. The Montreal, the summer travel show that Jody and I went to, was 41,200 people in 3 days' time.
And they all stopped.
Jody can testify to this. By the way, they did all stop because we ran out of all brochures, and I had to frantically call Jody on Sunday morning and tell her to go to the Welcome Center and pick up anything she could find, and she did. She did.
And was nearly mobbed when I walked in.
Yes.
It was great.
And these are also giving a chance, besides promoting our area in places that we haven't before, we also give a chance for tourism-related businesses out there to co-op and participate in these shows. Campgrounds, marinas, hotels, other businesses that maybe couldn't afford either the time or the cost to go out to all of these shows on their own. But through the chamber, when we do like the boat show in Montreal, local marinas, even a bank that does boat loans.
That's right.
This last year, for a small contribution and giving of maybe 1 day of time, got a chance to be part of that show, and so that's also part of what we're trying to do.
Well, that's a 10-day show, and any business, particularly a small business, business that doesn't have a huge staff, finds it very, very difficult to attend a show for 10 full days and to leave the office and so on. So this is a great opportunity, number one, to have their material for 65,000 people to pick up, and also to become involved in the show for a short period of time and not have to pay for the booth. So it's a good deal all the way around.
Now, another one of our efforts that you can update us on is our motor coach effort, which we talked to folks about some months ago. A whole new effort. We said several months ago that when we started this last year, we knew that motor coach touring was the biggest, one of the fastest growing sectors of tourism in North America. We needed to get to the table so we could try to get a piece of the action, but we started from not even knowing where the table was.
Exactly.
Carolyn has found the table. She's been to it a few times.
I've been under the table. Yeah,
and on the bus.
And on, yes,
and
indeed.
On the bus.
As a matter of fact, my first experience, Jody has been in this business a long time, but my first experience was going on what they call a sales blitz. And it is folks who are interested in reaching the table of the motor coach industry who are taken to meet specifically designated tour operators, travel guides, bus companies, and so on. And I'm going on my second one ever, July 9th through the 11th, in northern New Jersey, throughout New York City, and the boroughs, and on Long Island. So that was the first step we took. And then we did design and produce this, which we're all very proud of, right, Rick?
You bet we are. It's a good effort.
The cooperation of folks like Rick and the rest made it possible. Here's another opportunity for businesses to become involved in something where the sum is greater than the individuals, and the opportunity to be involved in something like this. This, by the way, is being mailed out to 600 travel professionals, as well as those that we're getting in on a daily basis receive this, which shows what we offer here for the motor coach business. Why don't you Or did you want Rick to
Yeah,
expound on our little committee?
Both of you, I know,
Yeah.
have had some action on this. How important is motor coach activity to the area?
Well, as we all know, the Canadian dollar has affected this area a great deal. And we were complacent in knowing that Canadians were going to come down here year after year. And we all know that's not happening like it used to be. And we're wanting to tap another market. And motor coach is a huge market that we never really pursued and gave any effort to in a big way. And we think it's the best way and a great way to go and pursue now. More times, I mean, it's frustrating when you go to the mall on a Saturday afternoon, you see 4 or 5 buses parked out front. And I know I've asked the bus drivers, you know, where are you from? And they'll say Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Long Island, Ohio, and they're on the way to Canada. So, you know, there's got to be a way for us to market this area as a destination and not just a place to stop and get gas and pass through and on their way they go. Whether it be use a restaurant, stay overnight in a hotel, and maybe go to Canada the next morning and spend the day up there, and then come back, and then the next day go to Vermont, or stay in Plattsburgh and enjoy Lake Champlain. There's a couple boat systems on Lake Champlain now that will give you a ride on the lake and tell you all about the history up and down the shoreline. And we think that's going to be a great tool to get some more buses here this fall and summer.
And we actually started this as a very strategic effort, knowing that we were, you know, kind of the new kids on the block, and you aren't going to go out and do a few mailings and suddenly have motor coaches, you know, pouring through your town. It's a market that we have to learn. It's a market where we're going to have to invest 2 or 3 years of effort building relationships, letting them see us at the shows, and then start seeing those returns down the road. It's something this area hasn't done in the past with tourism. It's always been a quick fix, quick return. Let's do some seasonal marketing, and just for this summer, and then start over again next year. So one thing I think we're proud of is that we're starting to think a little more strategically. You've got to plant some seeds and be patient and work them over a few years if you're going to bring the bigger returns rather than just worrying season to season to season. But what's been very gratifying for us is that while we realized up front that there may not be real returns on this for a couple of years, we're actually getting some returns.
Yes, we are.
Some things are happening already.
And by working as a group, we can produce and pay for much more than we could as individuals,
Exactly.
just sending out material
Exactly.
for a 32-cent stamp. This.
Lots and lots of our I shouldn't say lots and lots, but there were a number of very aggressive local businesses that did their very, very best for many, many years now working with the motor coach business. But what we decided was nobody can do it all alone. And another thing we're going for as far as motor coaches and tours is another market we've never done, which is our foreign market. Now this is the first for us, which is Destinations of New York. It's a magazine printed in 7 languages, which talks about bringing groups and tours here to the Champlain shores. We've never done this before. This is our second time. We get responses from this. We are also in, by the way, I have some leads to give you today.
Very good.
Because we just received a whole list of leads. We're in a magazine called Mid-Atlantic Group Tour Magazine. Your hotel is in it, and I received today, or yesterday rather, a printout of all of the tour groups who have specifically asked for more information.
Super.
So that's the kind of thing. One bus, and he'll tell you this, one bus, $6,000 in this community. One bus overnight translates to $6,000.
And one bus can generate 43 buses the next year, and it can generate 108 buses the year after that, and then the sky is the limit.
That's right. That's right. And we have one lady who is from the Lake George area who is already contracted with one of our local restaurants to bring 40 buses, one a week, right through until October, on her way to Montreal. But that lady, we're going to hopefully work with and have her plan some different tours that might take a little more time in our area.
It's starting to get the foot in the door.
Yes.
We're also trying to get our foot in the door with small meetings and conferences. We obviously don't have the kind of convention facilities of Saratoga Springs or Lake Placid or some areas to offer. But most meetings out there aren't the big meetings that have to be in a place like Lake Placid or Saratoga Springs. Most meetings, I'm sure folks out there have been to meetings, if it's their veterans group or Kiwanis or all kinds of trade associations. are sized such that we could host them here. Our hotels, our facilities here could very comfortably host those meetings, but we've never gone after them in a real concerted way. But it's kind of the next thing we're taking a look at. And Jody Malloy helped us in covering and exhibiting for the very first time in our history at a statewide exposition in Albany just a few weeks ago, aimed specifically at the decision makers and all of those groups and associations who plan meetings. And maybe you could tell folks what the potential is.
Well, the potential is there are 4,500 association meetings in New York a year, which generates about $3.5 billion annually. Now, how many of those meetings are outside of New York City, I don't have figures on, but it's lots and lots of them. And the average association meeting is about 75 people, plus spouses, and depending upon the time of the year, children. We have many, many things to offer in that area. We do have the facilities. We have over 600 good hotel rooms in this county. Lots and lots of things to do. Great spouse programs. We can bring people in here. We just have to ask for them. You're certainly not going to go where you've never been asked to go, and we intend to ask.
I love it.
One of the other areas that we're looking at, while keeping an eye on some of the big strategic kinds of things like motor coach, meetings, conventions, are some niche markets that we think we have some real opportunities too, given what we have to offer. And mention a few of those that we're trying to highlight.
Well, one of them, of course, that we started working with, the Bikeways of Lake Champlain, is a not-for-profit consortium of public and private folks who have one interest at heart, and that is cycling around the whole lake. And they began with one tour back in 2 years ago. Last year, a second one was done, and now for the third time, there will be a wonderful cycling tour which comes right along Lake Champlain. Now, cyclists are a unique group. They're a very specific niche, but they're also a powerful group. And if we can start getting more and more cyclists in the area, particularly to benefit, for instance, bed and breakfast, the small hotels, the ones along the scenic routes that are off the beaten track, they will benefit greatly from cyclists. The other, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, think how many people are watching us who have an interest. It's not bicycles, perhaps it's historic, perhaps it's gardening, perhaps it's something on the lake, fishing, etc., whatever it is that you're interested in. There can be tours, there can be a niche market for it. So let us know. Maybe we can find somebody else who'd like to come up here and let your people know.
Exactly, and the other thing that we've done, I know Jody has seen this too for the first time, we did a brochure recently, thanks to a grant that our chamber received, of the historic trip around the whole lake, called or along our side of the lake rather, called the Champlain Trail. And this gives you the historic markers along the trail. There is also a brand new brochure, which they're now in print again. I guess they've given out so many of them. But this gives you all the historic markers all the way around the entire lake. So there are folks with particular interests like history. We have just completed the Revolutionary War newspaper, which has been printed. I will have a supply here which talks about the history of the Revolutionary War all the way down the lake, all the way down to Lake George. Mm-hmm. So that's another niche, people who love like folks who are Civil War buffs and so on. There are niche groups that I think we'll do very well with. As a matter of fact, we have a group coming in 1997. I talked to the gentleman. He's having a reunion here of all his buddies who used to be stationed at the air base in the Second World War.
Wow, that's great.
1997, so they're coming. They're coming.
This is outstanding. The military history of this area is just phenomenal. We really ought to key in on this.
Mm-hmm. We have a tour bus coming from California. It's part of the Historical Society. They're coming to take the boat ride on Lake Champlain and see the history here. They didn't really know about it till they called us, wanted to know what we had to offer. I told them about the boat ride. They're very excited about it. They're going to stay 2 days instead of one, and so that was a home run for us. We want to hit a lot more.
The lighthouses.
And we will supply you with as many historical brochures as you need.
Good.
Just call.
One thing we have is lots of materials. Folks should be aware that there's just a dozen or more different materials that we update and put out every year to promote the area. But certainly some of them are also of interest to folks locally, and the Chamber's happy to provide those too. We put out a special piece on fishing in the area. We have a map of Lake Champlain for all the marinas and canal access and so on. We put out a dining guide listing information on area restaurants. We have a map that a lot of folks in the area would find very nice to kind of follow and check things out on farm stands and retail activities out there by farms all over the North Country. Just thousands and thousands of copies of all of these go out each year, and we of course give special feature to our member businesses, whether it's restaurants or marinas, diving services, whatever out there, in these specialty brochures to help promote their business.
By the way, Gary, I haven't hit you with this one yet. Maybe I'll get him in front of witnesses, no problem. We are now on the verge of reprinting the dining guide again and the fishing guide. We have run out halfway through the year before the season even started. So it just goes to show you that people have requested this information and that we've gotten it into the hands of folks at some of the travel shows we've been to.
And they're excited about it.
That's good news.
And the thing that I found when I was talking to people is that they're really, really excited to get something from Lake Champlain that isn't on the Vermont side. Everybody here wants to say, oh, are you from Vermont? Well, no, we're not. We're out from the New York State side. Well, isn't that great?
You mean the lake goes all the way over to New York?
It does, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
One of the other new ways that we're using to get information out there in a really global way is the World Wide Web. We have a major new site. We think actually, frankly, it's one of the most attractive and substantial sites that any chamber in this region, in the whole state, in fact, has up and running yet. And it includes a lot of enticing information about the Champlain Shores region and Plattsburgh and Rouse's Point and the whole area. It has an email coupon, so folks on the internet can request all of these things just like the coupon in the published travel guide. They can request it and just zap it right to us. We get those printouts every morning now and respond to them just as if people had mailed them to us. And we've really only had the site fully completed and up and running and hooked into the so-called search engines that help people kind of find your site for just the last few weeks, and we've had over 200 queries that we've answered. And as we promote the site and it gets hooked into more lists and more people start accessing it, we expect that number to explode.
And will someday we be able to plan meetings on that site?
That's certainly a possibility.
As
That's
a matter
certainly
of fact,
something that can be done.
We'll have to look at that. I think we did
That's
put
done.
a little.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we did put a little thing on the VCB if people were interested in bringing meetings to the area.
For folks out there that may be on the internet, that may want to check that out, the address is http://www. That's pretty standard. But then our actual address is North Country Chamber, all small letters, no spaces, northcountrychamber.com. So check it out, and you can even use it to request some of those brochures. And we'll be
That's
happy to
right.
send them to you.
We'll take care
Save
of
a phone call and a 32-cent stamp. Amtrak. We're also working with Amtrak
yes.
on our rail service.
Yes, that is an exciting thing. I just came from a Bikeways of Lake Champlain annual meeting, and we talked about the train there as well, because there are so many things that we're talking about right now that are interconnected, that we're starting to do. Amtrak has begun to promote travel on train as a form of tourism, which I find is wonderful since it's been done in Europe for a good many years. So now they're highlighting what they call their scenic train trips, and we are one of the top 10 in the United States. This trip right up along Lake Champlain.
Fabulous.
It is. It's beautiful.
Just.
If you haven't taken it, do it one day, because
Absolutely.
it's a lovely, lovely trip.
Very comfortable.
But the train itself is going to be relaunched, hopefully within the next week or two.
And this will add to our access for meeting planners.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because
Viable transportation.
another form of transportation to the North Country. They've got 4 antique cars that they're repainted and renamed. One they're calling the Auberge Champlain, and there's the Saranac, and there's the Adirondack train car, etc. They will have a baggage car to accommodate skiers who can get off in Westport and go to Lake Placid, as well as cyclists who could get off at any of the stops along the way and tour around Lake Champlain. So this is another opportunity to link up with someone who can help us with tourism. And that event, by the way, you'll be hearing about it, I hope, very soon. We have a committee working on that too, because it's going to be an event, we hope, you know, with the CEO of Amtrak and Bombardier and a governor's representative, and I Love New York. And it's coming through town to the D&H and the model railroaders. Model railroaders are setting up.
We also have, before we finish this week's event, just want to make sure folks out there in tourism businesses of any kind know that we also help them with their advertising in some of the major markets that they may need to get into. Montreal in particular, which is so expensive for North Country businesses to advertise in on their own in the French and English papers up there, as well as Albany, Syracuse, Ottawa, and other publications. But we have a co-op advertising program, thanks to the I Love New York program from the state of New York, and in the support of the Chamber here, to help the businesses up here, first of all, just to help them as a service, pull all their ads together so we can package them, rather than everybody trying to put their own little ad in the Gazette, for example, and having it lost because it's such a big paper and such a small ad. If you put 8 of those together from the region here and wrap them around, they'll get more attention and be more effective. But we do more than that. We actually help underwrite the cost, which folks may not believe. They may think there's a catch. There really isn't a catch. We really do help underwrite the cost.
Yes, sir. And this summer, this is just one of many. This is in La Presse. We are in both French and English, in Canada, in Ottawa for the first time, and in Syracuse and in Albany for our American travelers. Okay, and it's a menu again to allow our members to pick and choose what fits their business. And it's working very, very well this year. We're very pleased.
And besides doing a summer program this year with these ads, which we've done for the last several years, we're going to extend that and do some advertising in the fall. So there's still time out there for businesses that are interested in perhaps getting into our summer program, but certainly taking a look at our fall program, and also making sure you're first in line to be there for other things that we're going to be doing this winter and next spring again.
We've got lots of opportunities again that are partially underwritten, that are co-opted for individuals to receive advertising they could not ordinarily afford. Yes.
So there you have it. There's a whole lot going on. We could probably fill several segments just talking about all the new things we're doing. We haven't touched on it all. Suffice it to say, any business out there that deals with visitors in this area or is at all tourism related, if they haven't been in touch with this chamber lately, I can guarantee they're missing out on some opportunity to promote their business, whether it's being in our specialty brochures or our travel shows or our co-op advertising program or our motor coach effort or meeting promotion, whatever it is. There's so many things that we're doing that I guarantee they're missing out on a chance to promote their business more effectively. And we encourage them to call us, find out more, and get involved, because it all helps make all of the efforts more effective for everyone, the more that are involved in it. And 563-1000, and thank you for watching North Country Commerce.